Hi guys, I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be TV show review of Chucky TV series season 3. Yes, you remember when I did the TV series reviews for season 1 and season 2? Well, I'm back reviewing season 3. So, see the first episode of season 3 premiered on October 4th, 2023. It was delayed due to the writer's strike, so it ended up ending on May 1st, 2024, and this review is coming out May 2nd, 2024. The show has 8 episodes like the other seasons, so let's just get right into it. So, the first episode is Murder at 100 Murder at 1600. Sorry. That's kind of hard. In the White House, Henry mentions how his doll Joseph protects him, which is in fact Chucky, before going to sleep. The power then goes out, and the Secret Service gets the president and his family to safety by going into an underground bunker before the power comes back on. During a conference the next day, Press Secretary Mullane explains that President James and his family are safe, and the power outage was just an inconvenience, as Melanie, Spencer, and James are in the Oval Office to discuss the power outage. James insists that he does not want to bury the news or lie to the American people about it. James also introduces the vice president to Mulaney to Joseph, whom he brought along at Henry's request. He finds it odd that the doll has this name, as it is the name of the son who died the previous winter. When Henry returns home from school, he asks his security detail, Teddy, to check on him. Once inside, Teddy bends down and spots Chucky before picking him up. Chucky takes this opportunity to steal Teddy's gun and shoot him in the head, killing him. The press secretary informs the public of his death, and which has been ruled a suicide. Meanwhile, Jake, Lexi, and Devin are attempting to use social media to spread awareness of Chucky and to find Caroline. Later that night, Chucky says the 3 of them a text before calling them on an unlisted number, and when they ask where he is, he taunts them. His new residence has a strict policy against visitors. In the morning, the 3 discuss their call from Chucky. Just then, they see a news story about Teddy's funeral and see Henry holding a good guy doll. Then they make their plan to travel to the White House and kill Chucky for once and for all. So, the first episode, in my opinion, is a mid-episode. I have nothing else to say about it. Episode 2, Let the Right One In. The next morning at breakfast, Henry says that Joseph doesn't want to go to school and would rather check out the Oval Office again. James agrees to let the doll come with him to work one more time. While in the Oval Office, James and Spence meet with a government agent called Price, who is interpreting the suspicious nature of Daddy's death. The 3 level the Oval Office while Samantha enters and spots Chucky on the floor. When she picks him up, they spring to life and slits her throat and left with a letter opener. After Chucky leaves, Price walks into the Oval Office and finds Samantha's corpse. He summons Charlotte to help him cover up the murders for the sake of James' administration. Meanwhile, Jake, Devin, and Lexi are attempting to gain access to the White House. Lexi reaches out to Grant on TikTok and Grant connects with Lexi and invites the three of them to the White House Halloween party. However, when Grant tells Charlotte about this, she is upset with him over his new friends. However, through convincing, Charlotte reluctantly agrees to meet with their legal guardian, Miss Fairchild. During their meeting, the First Lady allows her three wards to attend the Halloween party. Just then, Price summons Charlotte away, to which Chucky murders Miss Fairchild by smothering her to death with an American flag and steals her phone. He then calls Charlotte, taunts her, and Price by saying then that he has left a fresh body for them. Price tells Charlotte that he will continue to cover up any evidence of the murders to ensure Charlotte stays in line. Price blackmails her with the evidence of the affair. Chucky then makes one final call to Jake, Devin, and Lexi. He taunts them over the murder of their legal guardians and remarks that he is waiting for them. So, overall, episode 2, another mid-episode. That's all I gotta say. Episode 3, Jennifer's Body. This episode, I'm going to talk about more detail than episode 1 and 2 because I hate this episode. This episode is terrible, but I will get into that when I get done reading the synopsis for the episode. Episode 3, Jennifer's Body. The episode depicts the events that occurred the previous year. First, Chucky is interrupted from killing Tiffany by the police raid, and she's arrested for murder of Mayor Cross. Nika arrives and attempts to chase Caroline and Chucky, but they are escaped through the subway. When Chucky discovers his doll form is starting to age, he visits his doctor, who is expert in voodoo. The doctor tells him as a result of the exorcism at the School of Incarnate Ward, Damballa has abandoned him. He must sacrifice 6 people located in an evil location to regain Damballa's faith and allow him to continue living. Chucky first tries to kill 6 people in a house in Amityville, but the ritual fails. So he chooses the White House as his next location. He shows up at Joseph's grave site while the First family is mourning, and Henry keeps him. Meanwhile, at Tiffany's trial, Nika, Jake, Devin, and Lexi all testify against her. Jennifer Tilly is convicted of 103 counts of murder and sentenced to death. So, there's 2 reasons why I hate the episode. The first reason is the story. The story is terrible. So retconned his own show he retconned his own franchise by, saying that Chucky has lost Damballa and he needs to sacrifice 6 people to regain the respect of Damballa, which I think is really fucking stupid. I hate that. The second reason why I hate this episode is for the trial. The Jennifer Tilly trial is fucking terrible. And there's one reason why. It is Jennifer Tilly's defense lawyer. I hate the defense lawyer in this episode. The defense lawyer is not predicted correctly. I hate it. So basically, the defense lawyer in this episode says that Jennifer Tilly pleads insane because she is insane. Now, if you're a defense lawyer at a real trial, you would not say that your client is insane. You would just simply say that she's pleading insanity because she has no guilt, she's not guilty, and she deserves a fair trial. That's what they would say. they would not say that their client pleads insanity because they're insane. A defense lawyer just does not say that. But, whoever wrote this episode thought it would be okay to say that. And that's overall why I hate this episode. I hate Chucky aging, I hate him losing Damballa, and I hate the trial in this episode. This is where the story of Season 3 starts taking a downhill for me. Because I do not like the fact that Chucky is losing Damballa and he's aging and he's dying. I hate that. That's a terrible story. Don Mancini is retconning his own franchise. And one of my good friends, Nightmare Crip, said that could have been the beginning of him not watching the franchise anymore, because he said that Don Mancini is writing the voodoo aspect out of this series and Chucky will just become a spirit. I hate that. But anyway, let's move on to episode 4. Episode 4, Dressed to Kill. Despite Charlotte's objections, Price convinces her to hold on their annual Halloween party at the White House to assuage President James and the populace. Charlotte hires a nanny, Annie Gilfin, to watch over Henry during the party. Chucky plans for the arrival of Jake, Devin, and Lexi, intending to kill them at his last 3 sacrifices. The 3 arrive at the party with a plan to prove Chucky's guilt as well as subdue him. Henry comes downstairs with Chucky, and the 3 try to get Chucky to speak. But the power goes out. When it comes back on, the chandelier loosens by Chucky and falls, killing Annie, and several other guests. Henry and Chucky are ushered upstairs as the remaining guests are escorted out. Chucky attempts the ritual once again, but it fails, and he discovers he is even older than before. In prison, Tiffany meets celebrity chef Evelyn Elliott, who quickly despises her upon hearing that she killed Meg. Tiffany receives a package of voodoo dolls. She uses one to torture and kill Evelyn, then uses another to hypnotizing a guard to help her escape. Episode 4, another mid-episode, but I do not like the fact that Chucky is aging. Episode 5, Death Becomes Her. Collins delivers a press conference following the deadly Halloween gala, but beginning hallucinating Joseph and runs out of the room disoriented. Price shows Charlotte concerning security footage from the Halloween party. However, she dismisses it and simply tells him to find the killer. Chucky, at aging, has continued to advance. He murders the housekeeper, but mourns that the thrill of killing is no longer there. Charlotte again meets with Price, telling him that she needs to come clean because Henry and James are seeing ghosts. He reveals that he does not believe there is a killer, but rather a supernatural force in the White House. That night, Chucky calls Tiffany, revealing that he's going to die, and they confess their love for each other. When he laments his fate, Tiffany gives him a pep talk that he should going down in history as the greatest serial killer of all time, and to go out in a blaze of glory and take out as many as he can with him when he dies. As James walks throughout the halls, he hears Joseph calling out to him and following the voice of Joseph's the old room. Once he is inside, Chucky smashes a piggy bank in the back of the head, causing him to collapse to the ground. Chucky gouges out his eyes, killing him. From there, he takes his pen and nuclear access codes. Meanwhile, Jake, Devin, and Lexi are trying to find a way back into the White House. Lexi reconnects with Grant at his school, where she apologizes, and they agree to start their relations over. He invites them over to watch a movie on Saturday. During this, Jake, Devin come across Dr. Rosen's website and drive to Georgia, where they learn from the doctor that Chucky is dying permanently, since they want to be sure that Chucky is never come back. Dr. Rosen explains that the only way that they can pursue him into the spiritual realm is by dying themselves. While driving home, Jake and Devin stop at a motel for the night, discussing their futures and later getting intimate for the first time. So, another mid-episode. It's another mid-episode, but the only thing I do not like about this episode is Don Mancini pushing his gay agenda onto people. To be honest, I have nothing against gay people. I don't hate them. I think they're okay. But I do not like when TV shows push gay ideas onto people. Like, it's okay to have gay characters in a show. I do not have a problem with that at all. But once you start pushing gay ideas, getting intimate with each other on the show, people don't want that. They're watching the show because of Chucky. I want to see Chucky. I don't want to see this intimate scene between Jake and Devin. I want to see Chucky. So that's my only problem with that episode. But then we get into episode 6, Panic Room. I hate this episode. I hate this episode even more than season 3. Or episode 3, I mean. I hate the episode. I hate this episode for political reasons. Now, I haven't talked about my politics on my YouTube channel in a while. I don't talk about politics on my YouTube channel anymore. I know it's not the correct subject to be talking about on YouTube or putting my political opinions out there because people will get angry. But I have to talk about this episode. I hate this episode. But first, I got to get into the synopsis of this episode. Episode 6, The Panic Room. Charlotte finds James' corpse. She and Price both witnesses blood manifesting on the wall, writing out Chucky did it. She is surprised as 2 agents enter to take James' body away and tries to run away. Coop and Price stop her in the hallway, trying to warn her not to wake her boys. They explain that the death of the president cannot go out to the public, and she and her sons are not permitted to leave. In the morning, she is called into her Oval Office to speak with Price, as she demands to remove her family from the White House, and he reminds her that she is complacent in covering up these murders, and they cannot expose the truth now that the president is dead. He has hired a body double to take his place, a man named Randall Jenkins. Jake and Devin reveal to Lexi about Chucky's fate, although she is distraught that she may not have a chance to find out where Caroline is, as they still go out to the White House that night. So, what are my thoughts on episode 3, Panic Room? Well, while carrying Chucky instructs him to take him to the room where a gun is hidden in a wall safe. From there, he leads the boy to Randall's room and holds him hostage. He has Randall to take them 3 to the Situation Room. Inside the Situation Room, Chucky forces Randall to contact the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Now with the complete access to nuclear missiles, Chucky sends his targets for Moscow, Pyongyang, and the North Pole. Now they are alone. Lexi decides to tell Grant about Chucky and why they lied to him. They convince Grant to help them and to make their way to the elevator. They arrive at the Situation Room just in time before the missiles are launched. Before his plan is fulfilled, Coop and Price enter the Situation Room, and Coop shoots Chucky through the heart to abort the missiles. However, Chucky manages to launch the nuclear missile to the North Pole before he dies, disengaging it into dust. While Price scrambles to lock the White House down, the ghost of Charlie Ray manifests in the hallway, unseen by anyone. So, what are my thoughts on episode 6, Panic Room? I absolutely hate this episode. This is the worst episode this season. The story is fucking terrible. Politically, the story doesn't make any sense. Overall, I hate this episode. I hate the writers that Don Mancini chose for this episode. Honestly, I think Don Mancini fucking failed history class. Also, maybe government class as well. Because, seriously, he doesn't know anything about our government. First off, if the president is assassinated or dies in office, he would not be replaced by a stunt double. That would not be happening. He would be sworn into office by the vice president, which would be that one guy who, I'm not going to say what happens to him, but he would be sworn into office as president. And then they also say that the first lady is also the president. So, the doppelganger and the first lady are president. That would not happen. The first lady would not be the president if the president died in office. It would be the vice president who would be immediately sworn into office. I don't know how that's not too hard to understand, but they had to do this for the story. They had to make it bad, really bad. And overall, I think this is the worst episode of Season 3. I fucking hate this episode. I hate it. I think it's terrible. I think the story is terrible. And politically, it is the worst episode I have ever seen politically in a TV show. It's terrible. I hate it. I hate it. It's terrible. Don't watch that piece of shit. Don't watch it. Never watch that episode. I'm fucking pissed off. I'm pissed off at you, Don Mancini. You made the fucking worst episode ever. Why did you write that piece of shit? Why? 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 It's fucking terrible. Pissing me off. It's a fucking terrible episode. Don't watch it. Don't watch that episode. Terrible. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next episode, episode 7. Episode 7, There Will Be Blood. From the sniper, however, she's hit by a car and dies. Tiffany is unable to stop her execution and is restrained and prepped up for her lethal injection. From a promise with Gigi, Nika, who is there watching the ghost of Charles Lee Ray, finally meets Damballa before being sent to hell. Charles begs for one more chance. He agrees, challenging him to kill as a ghost in the White House. Following the accidental donation, the vice president gives a speech to the public claiming it was cause of the power outage. Price discloses his plans to Charlotte to have Randall tape an announcement with the Collins family, explaining James is transferring the presidency to Spence due to brain cancer. Charlotte is against this, but Price has the teenagers locked in his room. However, Coop and Hicks arrive to help Charlotte escape with her boys. Grant refuses to leave as his friends are still trapped by Price agent. As Charlotte is driving away, Grant walks back into the White House. Dr. Carol Lindstrom and her associate Timmy Nash arrive at the White House to aid Price in cleaning the building of evil spirits. Price brings the gang to the Oval Office where Caroline and Tibby have set up their equipment. Carol reveals that the souls of those who died in the White House are still here, including that of Chucky. In order to persuade Charles' ghost to move on and find peace, they must have a seance. Randall is forced to record James's farewell video, and when he's finished, Price reveals that he's going to be dead by lethal injection. Randall makes a run for it elevator with the Secret Service agent right behind him. The two men fight in the elevator, but both of them drown when it fills with blood. During the seance, using Timmy's conduct, they successfully make contact with Charles. Carol tries to get in touch with the good in Charles. However, Charles causes blood to rain down from the fire sprinkles, and then they're throwing the light device to Bloody. Ground and absolution, Carol, Spence, and Melanie. As they are out of options, Timmy announces they must take away Chucky by surprising him in the spirit realm, but they can only do it by dying. Jake volunteers to do this, using a drug provided by Price. Jake is temporarily put under cardiac arrest, but has 5 minutes before they must revive him. Meanwhile, in Texas, Tiffany is still missing one of items for the voodoo doll. The sniper guarding the front entrance. She takes Erica to get her some execution passes on their message that they think she will be a wonderful mother. Nika informs her that she will burn in hell. Tiffany's last words are, "Goodbye, Gigi. Goodbye, Chucky. I love you so much." Episode 8. Final Destination. Jake finds his demons and type new evil to Evil Quest to find Caroline. So, what are my thoughts of episode 7? Episode 7 was another mid-episode. But I also hate that episode too a little bit because Chucky is spiritual now. Because Chucky has died for real. Now it's a spiritual thing. I also hate the episode because the vice president dies and they do not sworn in the House Speaker into office. I also hate that episode a little bit. Not as bad as episode 3 and episode 6, but episode 7 is kind of up there as well. So what are my thoughts on episode 8? My overall thoughts on episode 8 is that I do not like the episode. I do not like the spiritual world they go to. I do not like the spiritual aspect. I did not like that Don Mancini wrote out the voodoo aspect of the show. I did not like that. I didn't like Chucky become spiritual. And then they decide to, go to the spirit world, which was not very good. And then, they do all that nonsense. And overall, what is the ending of the show? I don't want to spoil the ending, but I just did not understand the ending. I did not like the ending. I was like, when I watched the show live, the final episode live, I was like, what the fuck is this ending? The ending is weird. I'm like, what the fuck? So basically, at the end of the show, Jake, Devin, and Lexi are turned into living dolls by Chucky, Tiffany, and this one guy who's played by John Waters. And yeah, they're turned into living dolls. And I'm like, what the fuck is this ending? This ending is so weird. Why did they do it like that? And my question is, Don Mancini, what the hell are you going to do in season 4? How is Jake, Devin, and Lexi supposed to be in season 4 if they're living dolls now? Is Nika going to do some voodoo spell to bring them back? What the fuck are they going to do? Overall, I thought season 3 was bad. I did not like the story. I thought the story was bad. Half of the episodes were mid. The rest were bad. Overall, I did not like the story. I gave season 2 a pass because season 2 had bad characters. But I cannot give season 3 a pass because it has a bad story. So, what do I give season 3 out of 10? I give TV show review of TV series Chucky season 3 a 3 out of 10. It's bad. I did not like this season. I did not like the stories. There was a couple episodes that I actually hated for a lot of reasons. Overall, I would not recommend watching season 3 of the Chucky TV show. And that is my TV show review of that is my TV show review of Chucky TV series season 3. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to please like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, period.